Hey everyone, I'm back again. Today I'm going to give you an updated video on tracking pursuits, pitches, assignments. I think it's really important. Shout out to a new client that was wowed by this functionality, and it just really prompted me to make this updated video. You've seen my other video on mastering the moves, tracking buyer leads, listing pitches, landlord pursuits, and tenant pursuits. This is an updated version of that to make it even easier for you to track. A lot of clients that I talk to will track this information in places like Outlook or Gmail, Excel, or other sources, or may not track it at all. One of the areas you really want to focus in on inside of our program, and what we're going to be focusing mainly on today during this, is projects. Projects is the area right here you can see. Absolutely amazing to isolate all your assignments. Now, you might want to watch my videos before and said, well, projects are for signed agreements, aren't they? They are, but I like to also create a project, whether I work with buyers or work with sellers, or I'm going after landlords or tenant pursuits or development pursuits or whatever that would be. It doesn't matter whether you call them pursuits, representative stuff like buyer rep, tenant pitches. You decide what you want to do and how you want to do it. The first thing we want to do is decide what we're going to track. And this one could be buyer rep. I'm going to track all my buyer rep assignments. Now, these are not necessarily people I currently represent, but people that I'm getting to the representation phase. In my other videos, I talk about stage 1 and stage 2, and it really simplifies the process. But what about stage 3? Stage 3 is where we're going to be going and picking up right in this area. So in order to have the easiest use in our program, or any program or anything in, for that matter, is setting things up properly. So in order to get to the place that I want to show you, we're going to walk through a couple steps. So the first thing we want to do is we want to define what we're going to do. And today I'm going to work on seller pursuits. These are all building owners that I'm going and I'm trying to go ahead and pitch their business for listings. At this phase, I've talked to the seller and there is some interest, and I've scheduled my initial meeting. Now, your stages might vary than mine, and that's perfectly okay. Everybody is a snowflake, and we want to make sure that the program is working for you and how you do things. So in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to go to settings. From settings, you're going to go to project setup. Now, I'd like you to write this out ahead of time before you go into project setup, but whatever works best for you. I want you to go over and say, add new project type. From here, I want you to call it seller pursuits, seller pitches, seller opportunities, seller leads, whatever you want to call it. In my case, I called it seller pursuits. Now, you can see in here that I have my project statuses, and there's a funnel. And the funnel goes from the longest one to the shortest one. And I have initial meeting, working on valuation, presented valuation, valuation agreed upon, one listing, and lost listing. You might have 20 steps, you might have 2 steps. That's really up to you and how you want to do it. To add a step, you simply go ahead and hit add status. You name that status. So listing pitch. What's the probability of you closing that opportunity once you get to the listing pitch? Well, maybe it's 50%, put in 50. And then what color do you want that stage to be at? You can change it from orange to blue to pink to purple to black, whatever color you want. Or in my case here, I just have it going from light to dark. And then maybe lost listing, you want to change that to a different color. It's up to you. And the probability is going to increase as you go down the funnel. Now, again, mine's for demo purposes, so I haven't gone through and shown you that because I want to be able to show you that. Working on valuation. Once we're working on the valuation, we know there's a 25% chance of us winning that assignment. Maybe it's 15% winning that assignment. Simply go ahead and hit save. And now we have 5 and 15% for that assignment. So Matt, that's fantastic, but how do we track it and what does this do for us? So I isolated a couple of my assignments. You can see in here, buyer rep, seller pursuits / landlord pursuits, tenant pitches. You can break these up into multiple projects. So one for buyer rep, one for tenant rep, one for landlord, one for sellers, whatever you want. The idea is that we want to be able to put our mouse over this leads where it says 11 and click on it. And that's going to show us a combine board. Combine board is awesome because it's going to allow us to move these leads from left to right, depending on what status they are. So if you have initial meetings set up with 4 different clients, I like to assign each one of my listing pitches to the property. One is it's easy for me to map out so I can see where my pursuits and pitches are coming from. I can also see more details on the property. And then if I want to see the owner, I can always go into the property itself and see that. It's just a great way for me to manage that. So as I'm working on valuations, I can come in here and see that I have 2 meetings set, 2 valuations. I have a valuation agreed upon and a 1 listing. There's also the lost listings, right? Did they sell with somebody else? Did they sell at all? Maybe it's just went off market. It wasn't the right time or something else changed. And you can create as many of these as you want. Like here's opportunity proposal, opportunity contract, opportunity first appointment. You decide how you want to see those within inside of the funnel there. And again, it's very customizable and you're able to move that information back and forth. And the idea is each and every day when you come into your RealNext program, we have the ability to pull that information up and you can see it. You'll also notice that I've opened up multiple tabs within inside of my program. I love tabs. Tabs eliminate any load time. So when I come in for the day, I open up properties, contacts, spaces, comps, whatever I'm doing, I open up those tabs and I let them load real quick. Then when I come back and I'm doing something else, I can easily click on that section I want to, and there's no load time. Like I click on properties and everything loaded. Now I'm going to show you how I got the information to that project. So we created the project, we created our statuses, but how do I get a lead to that project and how difficult is that? So one is I created a filter for the asset classes that I decided to go off of. I can then go into my split screen, which I absolutely love, the right-hand arrow, and then I'm going to filter based upon maybe it's a map view, maybe it's a list view, maybe it's a geographical data point, maybe it's a client's need, whatever it is, block by block, city by city, zip code by zip code. We have polygon searches and everything within inside the program. So I go down and I call the owner and they tell me they're not interested. I take them out of the stage and no problem. No problem. We go to the next one, next one, next one. And we get a hold of Antonio. Antonio says that he'd be interested in meeting. All you simply need to do is right click and say add to project. From here, I'm going to type in seller pursuits or just sell. Then I'm going to put in the size. Maybe the size is the number of units. Maybe the size is the building square footage. You decide and determine what it is, but just make sure it's uniform every time. So in this case, it's going to be 50 units. I don't have an expected close, but I think his property is worth around 8.9 million. What is my commission going to be on that? Make sure you put that commission in there. Now I'm going to make 50% commission because that's just what I feel like doing today. So I'm going to make 4,500,000 on that deal. And the reason for selling, unknown. But put in the nice reason. Any additional notes? Had a fantastic call with Antonio. He said that he inherited the property. He's just not into that. He wants to travel the world. And if there's an opportunity to get out of this asset and give him some cash, if there's a way to defer the taxes, that would be even more beneficial. Whatever the reason is, you can add those additional notes in here. Now, the probability can be set here, but remember what I talked to you about is your initial meeting status will automatically adjust that probability. So that probability will adjust automatically, so you don't really need to touch it right there and hit save. That's it. And now go down to the next one, the next one, the next one. I go down through my 209 of them, and I come back in, and it's Monday morning, and I come back in and I click on my dashboard and I click on leads. Now I can come over and I can see where my seller pursuit leads are at. It makes it real easy so I can see all of my seller pursuit leads. Real easy. I can look at each lead. And again, I have the ability to see this in that awesome dashboard form. So what I'll do is I'll just keep my projects tab open. As I click in here and I went from 11 to 12, I just didn't refresh my screen, and you'll see that new building in there as it refreshes. And the simple idea is to move them from left to right, just not all the way right, right? But some listings are better not to take. Similarly, sometimes it's better not to take the assignment. You can do the same exact thing for tenant pursuits, potential space planning, or before that, right? If do you currently represent them or not? Maybe you don't have a representation agreement, but you do want to look for some space for them. No problem. You can decide how to do that. Now, one was red, one was brown, and this one is gray. You choose what you're doing with those. Buyer rep as well. Is it an exclusive representation agreement or is it not? This is the way that we want to prospect for profits. And this is a way that I think is going to help you out drastically. Now, remember, the combine board works also. So when you do get that listing, so I'm going to clear that filter. Now, once we went ahead and we won that listing, now, or that assignment, now we can go ahead and we can track all our listings, where we're at in process. And you can see in here that mine looks like a lifesaver packet. And the reason being is I want everybody to understand, A, that the color is changeable. B, that it's customizable to you. And C, you can see different colors for different stages. So if that helps you, then we want to have that changed. So you know as you go down the lifesaver that hopefully you're going to make more money. Hope everybody found this extremely valuable. Watch my other tips and tricks videos on how to match buyers and sellers and tenants in space, keep track of portfolios and assignments, how to find the weakest link and find someone that is in need of your services. Keep watching, stay tuned. Hopefully you like, subscribe, do all those things. I'm trying to make my YouTube more engaged. If you have some ideas, email me, send me a text, hit me up on X, or leave a comment below.